This is a story about a unique horse and the two people who became his family.
I've loved horses for as long as I can remember. When I was little, I had a friend who had her own horse, and every chance that I had, I would go over and ride with her because I didn't have a horse of my own. Andy is a once-in-a-lifetime horse. He is the horse I have always dreamed of having.
Kelly O'Leary and her dream horse win competitions together. They compete in dressage. That's a long way from J.B. Andrews' beginnings. Herds of wild horses run across the plains and through the mountain valleys of America's Southwest. They're called Mustangs, Mustangs, a Spanish word meaning animal without an owner. Untamed, unbridled, free, they remind us of a nation in its youth, a frontier, and a disappearing wilderness. Mustangs survived the turbulent settling of the West, but the fencing off of grasslands, where these unclaimed animals roam and feed, that's a more difficult hurdle. The Bureau of Land Management tries to balance the needs of farmers and ranchers with the needs of the wild horses. To keep herds from growing too big for the available grasslands, the BLM corrals the animals. The young ones are kept and will be adopted. The older ones, considered unadoptable, are set free. One horse rounded up by the BLM to clear property owned by a railroad company was J.B. Andrew. Of course, no one knew who he was. He was just another horse, rounded up and shipped to Palomino Valley in Nevada. Here in the holding facility, the horses are branded and mixed with horses from other herds. J.B. Andrew would never again be a part of his herd. His parentage was lost. In Palomino Valley in 1985, he was one Mustang among many. The Rangers selected Andy to be part of a program at the state prison in Canyon City, Colorado. He was young and adoptable. 1 month after J.B. Andrew went to prison, he met Ginger Scott.
When I grew up, we had dogs and cats, hamsters, birds, and a raccoon. But we couldn't afford a horse, and that was the one thing I really wanted. And as I grew older and had a child of my own, she also had the same interest. She wanted a horse, and she used to play with her model horses and ask Mommy if she could have a horse. And there came a time that I decided we both needed that horse. There was a new herd in the holding pen, and I looked out over the field and I saw them running with their manes flowing in the wind and their tails flowing, and they were beautiful. They were rangy and muscular and snorting, and they were really a sight to see, but I just didn't see the horse that I really wanted.
At the prison, it was wildness pitted against wildness. Men who are in prison because they can't accept boundaries work with horses who have grown up without boundaries. A man comes to terms with self-discipline as he trains an untamed horse to accept a rider. Horses are in the program to be saddle-broken and readied for adoption. Prisoners take a frightened horse and gently introduce him to a new way of life. Gently, slowly, carefully, they touch him and lead him. They let him know he's safe. Cautiously, they present a new world to this wild horse. Inmates are in the program to learn discipline, patience, cooperation, and a skill they can use when they leave prison. These horses hadn't known corrals or trails. They'd had little contact with humans.
I didn't see them saddle break Andy, and I didn't see the horse that I was looking for until I started walking away from all the pins. And there, out of the corner of my eye, I saw a guy ride up on this big black horse. I looked at him, and he had a huge head and big feet and these soft brown eyes. And I walked over to him, and I knew this is the horse I wanted. The guy started to tell me that he wasn't the horse for me because he had too big of feet and too big of a head, and he wouldn't make a very good Western horse because he was so large. But there was a softness in his eyes, and I knew my daughter and I would be safe on him. I fell in love with him. My daughter's riding instructor agreed with the guys at the prison. He really wasn't a Western horse. His stride was too big, and he was too large to be able to do the smaller movements. He suggested his movements were more suited for dressage, so we decided to try it. They named him Andy in prison, so we just kept the name.
Andy won his first blue ribbons in a barn show a month later.
I was so excited when he won his first ribbons. And with all those elegant horses out there and the beautiful names, I decided it's time to rename Andy to something a little more prestigious. So I thought of J.B. Andrew. Actually, it's kind of whimsical because J.B. stands for jailbird, since that's where he came from. My instructor suggested that Andy needed a little bit more work with someone who knew what they were doing, so she asked me if there was a possibility that Kelly O'Leary might be able to work with Andy and I. Kelly's horse was lame, and she was a serious rider and needed a horse to ride. I thought about it, and I thought this would be a good opportunity for all of us.
When I first started riding Andy, he was so funny. He would kick up at my legs when I would ask him for the canter. But gradually, as he became stronger, he stopped doing that. He learned really fast. Dressage is a discipline, just like jumping or Western riding, and it has a lot of different movements in it. Each movement builds upon the other, and as the years go by, the horse becomes stronger and more beautiful. I think the biggest thing that determines whether a horse is going to work well for dressage is not how they're built. It's all in the attitude. Andy has the best attitude. He is so willing to do what is asked of him, and he really wants to do it. He wants to please the rider and do it well, which is very important in dressage. And he cares about what the rider feels, and he wants to make it right.
Pet him. Let him walk for a minute so he can think about that. Sometimes he has to think about what he did right, what he did wrong, and then he can try it again after he takes a little bit of a break and gets his breath.
When I was training Andy, I never made any limitations. Just because he was a Mustang didn't mean he couldn't do dressage. Ginger and I agreed in the beginning that we wanted to see just how well Andy could do, so we would enter him in the open classes so that he would have to compete against the professionals.
I was so proud of Andy. Kelly brought out the best in him. It was beautiful to see the two of them work together. And I watched him get better and stronger. I saw a bond growing between the two of them, and it was beautiful to see. In the excitement, I got caught up in everything that was going on. I loved standing there, and I loved collecting the ribbons.
The next year, he placed 20th nationally in second-level competition. In 1992, he placed 84th nationally in third-level competition. In 1995, he placed 214th nationally in Prix St. George. Andy has gone further in dressage competition than any Mustang ever.
I was so proud of Andy.
When Ginger Scott adopted Andy, she meant it to be forever. But in 1994, she thought she might lose him.
When Andy was 10, I thought I was going to lose him. My job disappeared due to downsizing, and our income was cut in half. Come here. Kelly was my answer.
Hi, Andy. Ginger and I had become very close friends and knew what was going on with each other. We both loved Andy dearly, and it broke our hearts to think that Andy would not be with either one of us. My parents promised me one day I would have a horse of my own. I never dreamed that that horse would be Andy.
Come on, good boy.
I've been working with horses for many years, and I knew that I would be able to take care of Andy.
J.B. Andrew lives with Kelly now. She has her dream horse. When dreams come true, they bring hard work with them. Kelly remembers her parents' early promise, and she knew when she was little that getting dirty and working hard would always be mixed in with those dreams.
When I took riding lessons, I also helped out at the barn. Mom remembers that the stable people loved when I was there. I would keep the stalls immaculate and the bridles spotless. Even though I own Andy now, we're both his family. To be successful in dressage, you have to train every day. But the hard work pays off in the show ring and in performance.
Andy, you're funny.
Every year, Ginger and I look forward to seeing how well Andy has progressed.
Hi. Hi, good boy. Oh, you're a good boy. Good boy.
Good boy. Ho. Come here. Hi. Ooh. Good boy. Good boy. Ooh. Good boy. Ginger loves to come and see Andy perform too. She helps me by just being there and helping with any little thing that I need.
Come here. Okay.
That way I can concentrate on each movement in the performance.
Come here.
While I'm grooming Andy, I review each part of the performance. Andy enjoys the extra special attention he gets from me. He loves the bath and the brushing, and I enjoy the quiet time I have with him. It's a time where I can be focused and concentrate on the performance.
Ginger, do you have a sugar cube to give him?
No, I ate.
You ate it?
He ate them all.
Oh,
Please grab my thumb.
okay. It's in.
He's getting all ready.
In November of 1985, the Bureau of Land Management corralled an ungainly Mustang in the Eugene Mountains near Winnemucca, Nevada. The horse was taken to the Colorado State Prison in Canyon City, where he was named Andy. Here he was halter and saddle broke by one of the inmates participating in the Adopt-A-Horse program sponsored by the BLM. Andy was adopted in 1987 for the price of adoption, plus a pair of cowboy boots for the prisoner who broke him. In his first few months of adoption, it was apparent that Andy's niche was in the dressage arena, so he was officially given the somewhat more refined name of J.B. Andrew. Andy began serious training in the movements of dressage when Kelly O'Leary began riding him in 1988. Under Kelly's guidance, Andy has placed well nationally and locally and is the first Mustang to reach the upper levels of dressage. People are naturally drawn to the big horse with the soft eyes. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Mustang from the ranges of Nevada. We present Kelly O'Leary and J.B. Andrew.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kelly O'Leary and J.B. Andrew. Nobody can ever believe that's a Mustang off the ranges of Nevada. Didn't she do a nice job with him?
Andy's a happy horse, and that's what I really want for him. And he's really a hand with the audience He loves performing. Kelly still calls me about all the exciting things that happen. Her life is working with horses, and she plays with him a lot. And he has his little friend Mule for company.
I think Andy has a kind of freedom now that he didn't have when he was wild. People are always trying to guess what breed Andy is. They say maybe he's a Cleveland Bay or a Friesian or a Percheron maybe, and I just laugh. Andy's a Mustang.
Oh, yum. Oh, yum. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Yum. Yummy, yummy.
Yes, right, the left, do a little zigzag this time. The zigzag where she has to change from left half pass to right half pass comes in at 4th level. She's going to change the bend and go side. Shoulders go with the first step. Good. Come towards us doing that. Left bend, and don't lead with the haunches into the first stride of the second half pass. Good trot. And increase the sideways a little. Ask for more of the first stride, Kelly. Now make sure the shoulders lead the first step. Good. 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 And straight. Let's go ahead up into canter. Little up hill. Don't let it